Conducting experiments in the right way is the key to outstanding research.
Science revolves around experimentation. Learning how to structure the design of the experiment is crucial to obtain useful data and valid results.
Through an experiment, a researcher tries to learn something new about the world, an explanation of why something happens.
However, when conducting experiments involving human subjects, it's the duty of the researcher to lead the study in a professional and, most importantly, ethical way.
Research involving human subjects has been littered with a history of scandals that often shapes the way people view ethics in research.
The most pressing question in this ethics is not whether we should be doing research.
But can we justify exposing individual human subjects to risk for the advancement of science by finding a balance between the risk and the acquisition of knowledge? Despite the best of intentions and care taken in the planning and practice of the experiments, sometimes things go awry.
Now and then mishaps may arise because of technical errors or ethical insensitivity, neglect, or disregard.
In this video, the ethics that must be considered when doing research with human subjects are presented by introducing the principal ethical considerations found in respected international codes of ethics that guide human research.
Keep in mind that some countries have special regulations when dealing with human experiments, but in special cases, such as interviews or surveys, the researcher might be free of regulation by federal authorities. Let's start with an overview of what ethics means in research and how this term evolved through time. First, we must assign a proper definition of the word ethics.
While universally used, sometimes there is a misunderstanding in the true meaning of the word.
Ethics are the principles that guide people or society when deciding what is good or bad, allowing to differentiate what is right and wrong.
Most of the time, the term ethics and law can be confused, but there is a key difference between them.
Law is a systematic set of accepted rules created by an appropriate authority, such as a government. The laws may be local, regional, national, or international.
Violation of the law normally results in a punishment, whereas violation of ethics does not necessarily lead to punishment.
Interestingly, some situations may be defined under the law as legal, but are completely unethical, and vice versa.
On the other hand, ethics regulates a person's behavior or conduct and helps an individual decide how to proceed in situations of possible abuse of power.
Researchers in academia, industry, and the medical field should strictly avoid abusing power or authority that exposes human subjects to increased risks of physical, mental, or social harm.
Following a long history of unethical human research, the need to establish codes of conduct for ethical behavior in human experimentation became obvious.
Perhaps the most notorious cases of unethical research came to light during the Nuremberg trials concerning Nazi experiments on concentration camp prisoners.
This research included involuntary sterilization, the induction of hypothermia, and exposing subjects to diseases like tuberculosis. Because of the atrocities committed to humans during the Holocaust, the first declarations appeared that dealt with the rights of humans who are subjects of experimentation.
One of the first documents addressing this issue was the Nuremberg Code, published in 1947 in Germany after the end of World War II.
This code declared 10 points to be observed when experimenting with humans. The most significant ones discussed voluntary consent, the beneficial nature of research, and the avoidance of any physical or mental pain during research procedures.
In 1964, the World Medical Association developed a set of ethical principles for the medical community, known as the Declaration of Helsinki.
The declaration built on the 10 principles first stated in the Nuremberg Code and specifically addressed clinical research. Today, this declaration is the cornerstone of ethical behavior for all experimentation involving humans.
Another code established in the United States during the 1960s, prompted by reports of abuse in research with humans, was the Belmont Report.
This report was issued by the National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research.
Published in 1969, the report highlights the need to protect human subjects and participants in clinical trials.
The Nuremberg Code, the Declaration of Helsinki, and the Belmont Report were responses to perceived lack of ethical behavior in human research and responded to the need to establish universal principles that guide experimentation with humans as subjects.
Although the codes are not legally binding under international law, They are considered as guidance for good practice and behavior in research involving humans.
Responsible conduct of research involving human subjects requires much more than complying with regulations.
The spirit of the regulations and good science both require that researchers critically review what is done and give thoughtful consideration to what defines an acceptable study.
International ethical conduct. Several countries have institutions and public associations that are vigilant over research with humans in their territories.
For example, in the United States of America, the Bellman Report led to the Code of Federal Regulation.
In Mexico, the Code for Health-Related Research was established to observe the adherence to the principles outlined in the Helsinki Declaration.
In France, in 2004, the laws on biomedical research were established, reflecting the general legal standards related to personal data protection and patient information.
Australia, on the other hand, declared the National Health and Medical Research Council Act in 2014 to develop and maintain health standards.
In 2003, South Africa instituted the National Health Act to set the norms for research involving human subjects who are underage.
Nearly all countries around the world have established rules and regulations for ethical conduct.
No procedure or study should be performed that is not explicitly exempted or a part of an approved protocol.
In this video, the main codes of ethics regarding human experimentation were explored.
Keep in mind that there are many regulating bodies that promulgate codes of ethics, nationally and internationally, and it is the duty of the researcher to check with the relevant organization before proceeding with an experimental protocol involving human subjects, in order to ensure that those participants are adequately protected.
Stay tuned to our future productions for more topics related to research.